All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostle and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here, this here article real quick. Just to bring things back, full circle, because there's been a lot of different things that's been going on in the news, lately, to kind of get, how do I say, people distracted from, these prophecies that's taking place, which all things, are working together for the good, but, a lot of the times on my channel, I speak about, these things is going on as far as the wars and rumors of wars, things was coming up with the MOTB, all right, Jacob's Trouble, Famine of the Word, things like that that's coming up, all right. But then again, what we, obviously still speaking on the whole Ye and Kyrie situation, and then others, because there's other people as well that this is going on with as well. But going into the famine of the word and the persecution, all that's coming up, which is all, hot and on fire right about now. But hey, at the same time, these things, not to say that it's a distraction. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that it's a distraction, because again, these things are working together for other prophecies. But hey, our eyes sometimes get caught off of other prophecies, man. All right, the big elephant that's been in the room for the longest time is what the war with Russia and Ukraine are bringing us closer to World War III. But then you still have Russia and Ukraine scenario, which is bringing into other things as far as like the beast starting to hate the whore and global economic collapse, which is bringing us towards the mark of the beast. But you also have things as far as World War III as well as ticking. All right, and we'll get into it in this here article, but just to bring these things back up, because a lot of the times what can happen is, our eyes can lose focus on one thing. It's just like in boxing, man. You over here looking at this boxing with the jab, 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 and you get into your mind, hey, well, he's about to keep throwing these jabs, and you forget to look out for that hook. Then that hook comes in and then lay your ass out, so you don't want to get caught off guard, like a thief in the night. All right. So it says, this one here goes back into, the weak saying I'm strong. All right. These nations are still preparing, with these military drills, man. All right. This is something not to, hey, spiritually looking at it, with this, I was speaking on this before with the Kyrie and the Kanye situation, the Andrew Tate situation, the Alex Jones situation, all these different things are leading us up to, being controlled to what you can and can't say in these ideologies and canceling and everything else as far as, the famine of the word. So we know that this is coming to pass, so we can see how things are building up to, how you say, predictively program with those things. But the same thing is going on with what? The wars and the rumors of wars. So speaking on that, as far as these nations preparing themselves, hey, we can see what the nations are preparing for as far as when it comes to these military drills, right? So it says U.S. calls Security Council meeting after ICBM launch. And, again, going with the distractions, not saying that, these things are keeping our eyes off prophecies, because a lot of these things do have to deal with prophecy. But, just like around Christmas, what is it, Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, in the government, when they have their little break and everything else like that, it's a high time for them to push a lot of things through law. All right, because a lot of the politicians are on break or at home, and it's easy for them to pass these things. And a lot of people are turning the news off from watching these things, so a lot of these things get pushed. So hey, we got to watch out for these things as well in the background. People will soon forget how close they are to thermonuclear destruction. All right, and hey, we supposed to be doing what? Watching. We supposed to be measuring the times diligently in itself, man. All right, so it says U.S. calls Security Council meeting after ICBM launch. All right, and this article, not bringing this article forth saying, watch North Korea and what they're about to do with these nukes and everything else like that. But hey, logistically and everything else like that, North Korea really is not a major threat, and it's very unlikely for them to use a nuke anyway. As far as a preemptive out of all these other nations, because again, they're on the border of China. All right, and they're not gonna do nothing to fuck up their protection from China. All right, trying to hit South Korea. They right there on each other's borders, so that's not really what's gonna pop off. But the point of the matter is how their stance, and they're speaking towards America. All right, and then as far as their retaliation, as far as what America's doing on their borders, because we see what America's doing on their borders. All right. So it says the U.S. has asked for a meeting at the United Nations Security Council to discuss a series of recent missile launches by North Korea, including an intercontinental ballistic missile fired over the sea on Thursday morning. And again, the watching things that's taking place. Hey, they're preparing with these thermonuclear missiles, man. These ICBMs. All right. And again, when you look at these I always bring this out when touching on these here articles. And when you do these drills and things like that, man, it costs money, man. All right, it costs money to do all these tests and things like that. They're not going to be using, testing these things out if just for whatever cause, man. All right, you're not going to go into the let's just say hypothetically you're a boxer or something like that. You're going to go and start training in the gym and everything. Well, in order to go and train in the gym, you got to have the lights on, electricity, and the water. Well, why pay that their price? Or, that's maybe it's a bad example, but same thing. Going forward for let's say you want to prepare your a race car or something like that, man. Well, the gas that costs to fill up that car, it's super expensive to be running these little test down and drag strip if you're not even preparing for like some type of big race coming up. You're just doing it just because, hey man, you're just wasting gas, man, for no reason. All right. So it says Washington is seeking to meet publicly by Friday. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield told MSNBC, accusing North Korea of violating multiple Security Council resolutions prohibiting missile tests. All right, in which these hypocrites. All right, because at the same time, what you think America doing? Like they'll go into it, but what do you think America doing at the exact same time, man? They tell them that they can't do these things, but yet and still, they're over there doing these same things, man. And not only, North Korea is doing this in their own backyard. America over there in their backyard doing these same things, man. All right. It says we really need to ramp up our efforts so that the DPRK, which is North Korea, all right, what is it, the Democratic People's Republic Korea or something like that. This is North Korea, all right, gets the message that they are, what they're doing is unacceptable, all right, according to whose standard though, right? And who gives Esau that position to be able to say what's acceptable and not acceptable in these people's house, man, all right? That's like me telling my neighbor, hey man, my neighbor's wife, she can't be cooking that for dinner tonight. Like, who are you to tell me what I can and can't cook for my household, But it says, we'll be having a Security Council meeting tomorrow to bring this before the entire council, Thomas-Greenfield said on Thursday. We're working closely with our Japanese and Republic of Korea colleagues to ensure that the DPRK does not think that it is something that is acceptable. All right. Now, speaking on Japan and South Korea. All right. Several other Security Council members have already backed the U.S. request, including France, Britain, Norway, Ireland, Albania, and multiple unnamed diplomats told Reuters. These Edomites come together. Pyongyang unleashed around 100 artillery shells and at least 6 missiles into the sea on Wednesday to show a force to protest. All right, listen to this. To show a force to protest against the ongoing military exercise by the U.S. and South Korea. So, hey, they like, look, bro, what's the point of doing these drills up on these, because they can go do these drills anywhere, right? But they simulate them on your borders to show, to get in position. So if this is the place, we're going to do it. It's like, for instance, if we're about to, how the police come and kick in your door type scenario. They had a little training on infiltrating buildings and everything else like that. But if they plan on taking down a specific building, all right, we got the blueprints to this here building. This is how we're gonna come in from this area, We plan on taking this here place down. They're doing this up on your doorsteps, preparing for an invasion on your territory. All right, so what do you expect this nation to do, man? All right, do you not expect them to do a counter offensive, a counter drill to how we would defend ourselves from these things? But hey, and ultimately, this is a theater of war, so everything is a big stage play. So all they're doing is both sides is preparing for how they're going to react, testing these things out, because ultimately it's Esau's plan to well, I don't know if I can even say that word, but let's just say get rid of a lot of people. All right, population, get rid of a lot of people. If you could put those PR together, or what is it? PR. But it says any nuclear attack against the United States or its allies and partners. Oh, did I skip something? Nope. Any nuclear attack against the United States or its allies and partners, including the use of non-strategic nuclear weapons, is unacceptable and will result in the end of Kim Jong-un's regime, the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said during a meeting with his South Korean counterpart on Thursday, in which, technically they can't necessarily be speaking like that because there's an act of war in itself. But, they, it's almost a generalized statement like, well, if y'all attack us, we're going to attack y'all. But at the same time, it's like, yo, man, you are the ones provoking them. You the ones started with your drills on their borders, so all they doing is retaliating, man. So how you gonna tell somebody what you finna do to them after they retaliate from your offense on them? But hey, ultimately, let's keep reading. It says North Korea has repeatedly condemned joint military drills of Washington and Seoul, deeming the participations preparations for an attack, and has been publicly vocal about this week's Vigilant Storm aerial exercise. So this is the point I wanted to get at, man. All right, scripture say the weak say I'm strong. All right, and then preparing themselves. All right, being prepared for war. All right, letting all the mighty men draw up for war, because look, they're starting to point out the fact that look, just how the scriptures say, Nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. But now the nations are starting to wake up. They're starting to look around and say, hey, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? We see what y'all done did to what y'all doing to Russia right now. We see what y'all doing in China with Taiwan right now. So you think we finna allow it now? Granted, I believe it was since the 50s or so. Now, first of all, you can go even further back than that. Korea is not even a real country to begin with. Like Korea as a whole is not even a real country to begin with. That's just China, basically. And then America went over there, just like Taiwan. America went over there and then split it up, and then they split not North Korea. They split Korea into two separate Koreas. So you basically still have an ongoing war. It's not really a hot war going on. They have the demilitarized zone, but technically it's still a war between the North and the South, right? But there's something that America wound up going over there and doing and everything else like that, man. All right, but look, you think that same with the Taiwan and China situation, but these nations are seeing what's going on, man. All right, like the script says, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? They see what you did to Ukraine. And like, look, they're gonna go over there, start ramping up all their weaponry over there, getting all they. We would be dumb to allow them to get all their infrastructure set up over there, get them all trained up, their scopes all dialed in. While we sitting there over there watching them dialing their scopes and getting us all up in there and targeting all of our buildings and everything, setting up all their rockets. So when the war started, all they have to do is hit the button and everything over it. Hell nah, bro. We finna stop them from these things, man. We not finna take. We know what was going on, man. This is the hammer of the whole earth. We not about to allow you to come and plunder us. All right, like the scripture say, how long to him that layeth himself with thick clay? All right, then they're gonna all suddenly rise up against you, right? It says North Korea repeatedly condemned the joint military drills of Washington and Seoul, deeming the preparations for an attack. Deeming them preparations for an attack and being particularly vocal about this week's Vigilant Storm aerial exercise. The U.S. and South Korean officials have agreed to extend the drills, all right, after they telling them, look, don't stop with y'all drills and shit, right, on our borders, right? Imagine if, just imagine if Russia and China decide to bring up all their warships and planes right out here in the Gulf of Mexico and simulate attacks on America and everything else like that. Or we holding a military drill right off the side of, or the Gulf of Mexico off the East Coast and everything else like that, and off the West Coast. We just simulating some nuclear attacks and nuclear drills. What do you think America would do to that, man? How would you Americans feel about these things, man? But then you'll have all these people say, well, North Korea need to start shooting these missiles, bro. Hey, forget about who the participants are in this here scenario, man. You people get caught up on the emotions. Oh, it's North Korea, they all bad. Like I said, change this around. Let's say it was China and Russia over in the Gulf of Mexico with all their ships and their planes doing war drills out there, man. All right, this is how these people feel. All right, but it says the U.S. and South Korean officials have agreed to extend drills past Friday in response to recent provocations by Pyongyang, which denounced the move as an awful mistake and irresponsible decision. So, hey, America being a little, but about to say, like, we're gonna extend our drills because y'all responding, like in that what was that movie, Baby Boy, where he lined them boys up and started knocking them out, and then if they was like they started flinching, he was gonna swing on their ass again. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, what you expect me not to do? Not to brace for this impact, bro? What the hell? Like, this is my natural reflexes is to brace myself for these things. So why the hell would I not try to brace myself for you trying to come in at me? And then you're going to threaten me on top of that? It says, though the Security Council met last month to discuss North Korea's record number of missile launches this year, the body was divided on how to proceed. Some members, including Russia and China, argued that the U.S.-led military exercises were inflaming tensions in the region and provoking reactions from Pyongyang, with Beijing's deputy envoy urging Washington to take less hostile approaches. And that's really the point. And that's the imagery that most people don't understand. All right, this is where we at with the Ukraine scenario. This is where we getting at with the Taiwan-China scenario, man. All right, America and them over there provoking these folks, man. It's like, look, bro, if y'all don't stop doing all these certain things, we gonna start reacting, man. All right, it's just like somebody coming up to you and then start putting their hands up in your pocket, and you swat their hand. Hey, bro, what you trying to reach up in my pockets for? Like, hey, man, don't be trying to swat at me and this and that. And then they go right back to going up in your pockets again. How would you react? Hey, man, why you hit my hand again? Because you trying to go up in my pockets. Am I supposed to just allow you to go in my pockets and take my resources like that? Hell no, man. But look, this is what's going to bring your ass to the king of terrors. But nevertheless, I wanted to get in on this here portion. Matter of fact, before we get there, Matthew 24. Well, we'll read a little bit here. We'll go to Luke, though. We can just read it here. Matthew 24 and 3. It says, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? Or what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world? All right. And so, hey, again, as far as well, we can read on down. It says, and Yahushua answered and said, take heed, said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And, we got this on one side with the whole Kanye and Kyrie situation and everything else like that, right? Talking about who is who, all right? And, us starting to be hated of all men for the Lord's name's sake over the controversy of Zion. We have these things that's going on right now as we speak, following up by what? The famine of the word, all right? It says, verse 6, and you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And so, we also have these things as far as, the, what you call it, Russia-Ukraine conflict, America and, or you could say China and Taiwan, but it's really, America and China conflict, all right? You also see this going on with America and North Korea, but, they saying it's, between North Korea and South Korea and Japan, all right? But, hey, America's at the, at the root of all these different things, man, all right? Bringing all these different nations out. But hey, and America's done these things to a lot of their their NATO allies and exhausted that tip right there, man. So on a whole nother note, and a whole nother lane of prophecy, you got the horse starting to hate the beast, not just NATO and the EU, but some of their other allies, i.e. Saudi Arabia and things like that. All right, they've already exhausted those tips, but now look, they go into these what do you call Indo-Asian nations and things like that, stirring up things with them. All right, you got things stirred up on all sides that America's stirring up with all these different people, man. So hey, on a international scale, when it comes to the war footing, man, all right, you got all kind of wars and rumors of wars that's taking place right now, all kind of different conflicts that's taking place right now, man. It's not bringing you no further or no closer to peace. All right, it's just pushing you further and further closer towards world war. All right, it's pushing you closer and closer to loneliness, man, when it comes to you and your allies, man. Because look, you're about to, how they say, like the article said, that roughly paraphrasing, destabilizing the or causing tension in that area. You're destabilizing the peace in that region, man. All right, you're causing all these uproars and all these different skirmishes, man. All right, like over there in the theater of Europe, how they say, oh, this is the biggest war front that we've had in on the European theater since World War II. Who started that, man? All right, who's bringing it into the Indo-Asian region right about now, man? Who's starting up all these things? North Korea and South Korea, hey, man. Like I said, they didn't been at war since, I believe, the 50s or some shit like that, man. But you don't really see no conflicts going on between them, man. They pretty much diplomatic with one, like the countries themselves without the American influence, right? You don't really hear about, North Korea raining missiles down on South Korea and vice versa, man. All right, they pretty much have an agreement of a ceasefire, and they've had that shit since, I believe, before I was born. I don't know if they've ever... And they had little small skirmishes, but nothing as far as tanks and shit rolling with one another. But hey, who's sparking the problem over here, man? All right, it's not the fact that South Korea is just doing some drills on their own. No, these drills are being led by America. That's stirring up North Korea. All right, now North Korea is in their responses. But hey, this is let me read verse 7 real quick. Well, let me read down a little bit, then we'll go into that. It says for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. And we seeing all these things happening, man. Food prices, diesel prices, man. Diesel prices are skyrocketing right now, man. All right, and people say, well, diesel got to do with famines. Well, hey, damn near everything don't get to everything that you know of damn near get to the store based off of a semi truck, man. All right, that's what the hell did they use for their fuel. And they were saying that they had so many weeks left of diesel supply. All right, the price of it was skyrocketing, man. So if the price of diesel go up when it comes to trucking companies and things like that, they don't really, see that much of a loss like that because they just push the bill down to you, to the consumer. All right, well, look, cost of gas is going up. You're going to have to charge all a little extra for shipping. The company's like, all right, well, fuck it. We had to pay extra for shipping. We'll just put it on top of the product that you're buying. All right, so, hey, when it comes to your food and everything else like that, or just, the objects, whether it be gas, natural gas to fuel your house or, whatever it is that has to be brought out to you, man. All right. That price is going up based off of what? The price of fuel itself. All right. You have pestilence. All right. We got another, what they call a upper respiratory disease or whatever that's going rampant right about now, man. Plus multiple others. All right. Earthquakes in diverse places. All these different earthquakes, landslides, and storms and things that's taking place, man. Quote unquote natural disasters, man. Not to mention predicting a cold winter this year, man. All right. Verse 8 says, all these are the beginning of sorrows, and that's a whole lesson on itself, man. All right, the fact of the matter, the things we have going on. But just going into Lord's will, we might just come back and do a different lesson on that. But getting back to this here, the wars and things like that, man. All right. I wanted to grab, was that Joel 3? All right, let me get to Joel 3:9. It says, yeah, this is what I want. Uh, Let me read this into in the NLT. It says, say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war. Call out your best warriors. Let all your fighting men advance for the attack. All right. So, hey, over here it says prepare war, and I believe. Let me see. I believe this is like set aside. All right. Yep. All right. Boom. Uh, Basically to set aside. These are men that was pretty much set aside a reserve basically for training purposes, man. And you see these nations, especially the ones we have joint military drills with these other nations. Hey, how are we gonna, you'll have let's say like I gave the example one time. You have a big corporation. You about to introduce, let's just say, some new policy or something, right, from the top down. Let's just say the guy at the very top got the idea. He has a meeting with his staff. Maybe it's 10 people that they meet with. Those 10 people go out to the little regional bosses. Let's say it's 100 of them. Then those 100 guys bring it back to the, more managers beneath them. Maybe it's 1,000 of them. Those 1,000 go back to their respective plants or grocery stores, wherever they get. They spread to their thousands of employees. Well, it started all at the top with one guy talking to another guy. A meeting of 2 people turned to a meeting of 10 people, and so on and so forth. But you had those guys that was reserved up at the top, all right, to bring this on down. So, with your joint military drills, you don't have the whole military out there, but hey, what are they planning on doing, man? Moving and operating as a complete unit. So you have these different nations doing these joint military drills together for what? World War III. All right, this is what they're all preparing for. All right, let's go back to that. It says, say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war. Call out your best warriors. Let your fighting men advance for the attack. All right. I'm not sure if I ever looked this one here up. There's a different word. I'm not sure if we're going to read that scripture, though, but let me look this up. Just goes into strong warriors. All right. Let's go back. I want to see what that word was. But it says, I'm going to read this in the NLT as well. Verse 10, it says, hammer your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Train even your weaklings to be warriors. All right. Now, hey, not just, the weaklings of your military, but look at these different nations. Because, most people in America with that propaganda that they have going on, the fact of the matter is, well, we should be afraid of North Korea. We should be afraid of North Korea. They're going to hit us with a nuke and everything. Like, well, they could have been hit you with a nuke. If you understand how these things really work, the delivery system is what you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about them developing nuclear warheads. They'll just buy them from Russia. Same with Iran. When they talk about Iran's nuclear program, all right, they talking about them getting like nuclear power plants to create energy. All right, that's not the same damn thing as having a nuclear bomb. All right, just like sometimes when you hear about nuclear powered cruise missiles or nuclear powered submarines, that's the fuel source. Like you got a nuclear powered submarine, it's pretty much got an unlimited fuel range on that. That's completely different than you can have, like, let's just say hypothetically, you can have a diesel powered submarine that got nuclear missiles that it can launch. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, that sub can shoot nuclear missiles at your ass versus having you it is gas powered versus you having a diesel power. You can have a diesel powered submarine that can shoot nuclear missiles at you versus a nuclear powered submarine that has conventional warheads on it, non-nuclear warheads. So people get caught up into they got a nuclear program over there. We're like, well, yeah, Iran want nuclear energy over there. They ain't really they're not going to create no damn nuclear bomb, bro. They just go buy them from Russia. It's a lot cheaper and everything else to do it that way, and they ain't got to worry about blowing themselves up. Plus, America already over there spying them. They could just end that whole scenario. Plus, they would have to find the resources, the uranium and everything else for that and start enriching that. So that's not even in the picture. But for North Korea, all right, they already got warheads to begin with. They already got nuclear warheads to begin with. All right, they have I believe it's 2 satellites that cross over America every day. I believe one of them is called a Morning Star, but you can look it up. North Korea has 2 satellites that cross over America every day. Now, if they can get them satellites in orbit to orbit across America every day, they can put nuclear missiles up in space with their nuclear program or their space program, all right, and just rain a nuclear missile down on your ass, they could have been done this a long time ago. So if that's what you worried about, they've been had this capability before you even thought about this idea. But that's not what they're dealing with, all right. But nevertheless, this is a another little propaganda piece as far as what America pushes on the narrative of their people. But the funny part about this little small place over there is the fact that, hey man, these people is not very likely to be pushed over like that. But again, looking at how the thing is, the theater of war goes, and I believe that this is all created by America anyway, all right, so they can have their little buffer zone or landing zone for an invasion for America. This is why they went over there and turned Korea into Korea from China. All right, and then you got South Korea, North Korea, so that they have their little, because you understand how America wages war. They always bring they shit to you, right? Their launching pad is over there. So, for instance, for America and China to get into a war, if China want to hit America, they got to keep flying over to America. Like when Japan was fighting against America, they had the kamikaze pilots. The reason they had kamikaze pilots was they didn't have enough fuel to fly to America, and the only place they could hit in America was Hawaii. They didn't have enough fuel to fly to mainland America and drop bombs on America and then turn back around and make it back to Japan, refuel, and go back over, right? So they didn't have the capability of doing that. Now, so if you would imagine, for China to be able to do that to America, they would have to fly all the way over here. They don't have, I believe they have one aircraft carrier that they have in their arsenal now. And it would take, days for that shit to drop, for them to sell that little aircraft carrier over to America full of planes, and all America would have to do is just sink that bad boy because they would see it coming from days ahead of time. But nevertheless, China would have to fly their planes over to America, unload their arsenal, and then fly back to China. Whereas America, all they would have to do is take off from South Korea, cross over the border from South Korea to North Korea, and then from North Korea to China, be there within 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Hit their ass, fly back, reload, keep going back and forth. So you can see the dynamic of war, why America would create such a thing right then and there on China's border to invade China. Right now, it would be completely different, just like how when America got pissed with Cuba with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like, well, if they launching their missiles, if Russia theoretically is launching their missiles from Cuba, that's a problem. They right there on our border. So, you see these things. But, hey, you have North Korea standing up to all these things, man. All right. And again, China is not going to allow those things to happen because they share a border. China and North Korea share a border. So if anything goes wrong on North Korea, like let's say America decides to nuke North Korea or something like that, China going to get the blowback for all that. So now they got a war with China. All right. So it says, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. All right. So in a scenario like this, the last, decade or so, maybe less than that, you start to see these nations buck up against America strongly, man. Now, granted, you've been having things going back and forth where they had threats from North Korea to America. But like I said, a lot of these different things have been smoke and mirrors and things like that, man. All right. But now, how much more now in a time like this where it's like, yo, man, China not telling North Korea to sit down and shut up and stop provoking, so on and so forth. They're like, look, bro, if they want to bring the smoke to you, then we'll stand up. We'll say something at that point in time. But go ahead, do what you're going to do, man. All right, somebody as small as little North Korea that ain't that big is talking all that smoke to America. Hey, America said, well, we're going to just extend our drills. All right, but hey, we won't tolerate no nuclear threats towards us and everything else like that, man. Hey, but watch out for that rhetoric because we know that what's going on. America's trying to swindle up a conflict on another man's border so it can spill over into somebody else's territory, man. Just like with the Syria scenario, man. All right, they didn't want to go head on into war with Syria or the Syrian military, but they just dropped over some little how you call those little militias, those ISIS and all them, dropped them over there and station them besides all the infrastructure and just start bombing all the shit. Well, we were trying to bomb ISIS. That shit was just collateral damage. We sorry that your infrastructure got blown up, right? Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. For there will I sit and judge all the heathen round about. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. All right, and hey, that's where America's at right now. The cup is filled to the brim. All right. Multitudes in the valley of decisions, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decisions. All right, and so hey, World War III is starting to is still boiling over. You start to see more and more conflicts with multiple nations. It started out with the hot scenario with this latest round of wars and rumors of wars that's been taking place. All right, with what? Not North Korea, with Russia and Ukraine. All right, it spilled over to China and Taiwan, which it's another proxy war with America and Taiwan, or America and China. All right, and you have this North Korea. Obviously it's another proxy war with South Korea and America. But North Korea and South Korea, man. All right, you have all these different conflicts in all these different places all over the world. Not to mention you have other countries as well that's going back and forth, man. Turkey and what is it? Turkey and Greece. All right, you got a lot of different conflicts going on. So, like scripts say, wars and rumors of wars, man. But at the end all be all, man, you got all these different nations. Plus they all have their separate relationships with one another. All right, well, if you messed up this over here, it's gonna end up with that. So we got to make sure that our allies don't fall on this end, disrupting the flow of this and that, man. All right, just for instance, if this here country is bringing us fuel and y'all want to go to war with them, we got to protect our country over here because if y'all take them out and blow up their infrastructure, that means we out of fuel. We gonna wind up sinking. So hey, we got to handle business over here, man. All right, bringing us closer and closer to what, like the scripture say, multitudes in the valley of Yahweh, man. All right, hey, this is where it's gonna be at, man. All right, Third World War is brewing as we speak. So hey, with all these different not to say distractions, but all these other little things that's going on. Hey, don't forget about this big major thing that's going on, man. And not to mention with the buildup of all these things, of the wars and rumors of wars with the Ukraine and the Russia situation, with the sanctions, and then the energy crisis that's going on over there, is bringing you closer and closer to what? A global economic collapse, which is pushing forth what? Problem, reaction, solution. What's the solution? All right, the MOTB. All right, no man going to be able to buy or sell, save, either have that mark. So, hey, keep your eye on the prize, man. Like the scripture say, you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. All right, but the end is not yet. All these are the beginning of sorrow. So, hey, keep your eyes peeled. Don't just, get distracted by something and get caught like a thief in the night trying to figure out how the hell did we get to World War III? We was just over here arguing about this. All right, all these are these prophecies that are speaking loud and clear at the end of the day, man. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and ever will. And citation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.